For the most part, the cast of Avengers Endgame was in the dark just as much as the fans when it came to the movie's plot developments. Here's how they reacted when they got the news about what would be happening to Earth's mightiest heroes in the war against Thanos. One of the most crowd-pleasing moments of Avengers Endgame comes when Tony Stark channels Black Sabbath one last time before wiping out Thanos and his forces with the Infinity Stones.
I am Iron Man.
The move wins the day for the good guys with a fantastic callback, bringing the series full circle in what some fans would call a crowning moment of awesome. It's just a perfect line for Tony, and one that wasn't in the script. After Endgame was released, directors Anthony and Joe Russo revealed the line was added to the movie in reshoots, after editor Jeff Ford realized a response was needed for Thanos' final declaration of "I'm inevitable." The Russos brought Downey to dinner to pitch the reshoot, with Hollywood super producer Joel Silver also tagging along. According to the Russos, Downey's reaction to his character's death was so powerful that he resisted being brought back to face it again. They recalled him being hesitant, saying, "I don't know, I don't really want to go back and get into that emotional state."
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
It was apparently Silver, an old friend of Downey's, who managed to change his mind. According to the Russos, he responded to the actor's doubts with, "Robert, what are you talking about? That's the greatest line I've ever heard. You've got to say this line. You have to do this." And like a snap, it was done.
How about that?
Speaking to Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show, Winter Soldier actor Sebastian Stan discussed how tight the secrecy was while filming Endgame, even more so than usual. When asked if he ever had any idea of what exactly he was filming, Stan said,
Not for this one, we didn't. I mean, everything I filmed, I found out on the day.
He also joked that he concealed his confusion with some of that smoldering Winter Soldier charisma.
You kind of tell, like, by my expression, I hide the confusion well under a Zoolander look.
Stan referred specifically to one of Endgame's final scenes when the surviving heroes gather for Tony Stark's memorial. According to Stan, he was initially told it was a very different type of ceremony.
No, I was told there was a wedding, that there was a wedding that we were filming, and I was like, who's getting married?
Throughout the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, Drax has demonstrated that you don't need a lot of words to say how you really feel. Dave Bautista proved the same point with his brief but telling response to Avengers Endgame. In an April 29th post, the Drax actor tweeted, "And still processing." Drax doesn't appear in Endgame until the final battle, so considering the secrecy and misdirection used on actors like Mark Ruffalo, whose characters were more important to the overall plot, it isn't likely Bautista knew much about what happened in the movie outside scenes he filmed. His reactions were likely just like the ones felt by most of the audience. His processing may also revolve around what it all means for Drax's future in the MCU. With the death of Thanos, a death which, let's remember, has very little to do with Drax's actions in the film, Bautista's character's chief motivation is gone.
Yes. Of course, Ronan was only a puppet. It's really Thanos I need to kill.
Then there's the fact that at the end of Endgame, Thor seemed to be joining the cast of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. As such, it's safe to imagine that at least some of Bautista's processing might be of a professional nature. After all, Drax is a big, strong guy who says funny things. Thor is a big, strong guy who says funny things. Do you really need to? Then again, maybe he's just processing that in the next film, he gets to work in such a beautiful creature's presence.
He is not a dude. You're a dude. This is a man. A handsome, muscular man.
Leave it to Star-Lord to do the exact opposite of what he's supposed to do.
Put it together.
What are you doing?
Dance off, bro. Me and you.
On the set of Endgame, while taking some downtime during filming the movie's climactic final battle, Chris Pratt took out his phone and knowingly broke all the rules. He started recording.
This is a really illegal video.
The star posted the video to his Instagram account on May 1st, and it's a regular who's who of MCU actors, folks who are now some of the most famous performers on the planet. When it came to one of the biggest moments in the movie, Pratt's first thought was to make sure, quote, no rule was going to stop him from capturing and sharing it, and it's kind of tough to blame him. Chris Evans ends the video by telling his co-star that he's in
big trouble. Big time.
But it's Sean Gunn who motion captures Rocket Raccoon, who has the best line in the clip.
I'm pretty sure I'm the most famous person here.
One of Endgame's biggest moments didn't take place on the screen or behind the cameras, it happened in the record books. In early May, Avengers Endgame knocked 1997's Titanic out of the number 2 spot on the list of highest-grossing films in box office history. The development didn't go unnoticed by Titanic director James Cameron, who issued a social media congratulations to the MCU, posting a picture on Instagram and a ship sunk by a half-submerged Avengers logo rather than an iceberg. Cameron accompanied the image with, "An iceberg to sink the real Titanic. It took the Avengers to sink my Titanic. You've shown that not only is the movie industry alive and well, it's bigger than ever." Don Cheadle, who plays War Machine, responded to Cameron's classy congrats with a now-deleted tweet that read, "Nothing personal, James, it's the fans," and a shrugging emoji. Judging by the responses Cheadle's tweet received, the snark has not been overlooked. Cameron rubbed superhero movie fans the wrong way in April 2018, when he told IndieWire he was hoping for what he called, quote, "Avenger fatigue." Cameron said he liked the movies, but there are other stories to tell besides hypergonadal males without families doing death-defying things for 2 hours and wrecking cities in the process. Perhaps now Cameron is relieved Endgame has come and gone, so that those hypergonado males will leave for a bit and give Cameron a chance to show us some Terminator movies with, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Downey, Batista, and Cheadle all showed us how only a few words can say so much. Hawkeye actor Jeremy Renner went a bit further and reinforced that old adage about a picture and how many stories it can tell on its own. Renner's mother accompanied him to the Avengers Endgame premiere. The next day, Renner posted a touching photo of himself holding his mother and appearing very emotional, perhaps even in tears. Renner wrote, "Wow, words will only betray my feelings for this movie. This picture from last night represents love, pride of my family, my friends, and crazy for my Avenger family." Renner didn't mention any specific scenes or aspects of the film that put him in such a vulnerable state, but anyone who has seen Avengers probably has an easy time imagining more than a few things that could leave the Avengers' favorite Archer in tears. One of the biggest moments of Avengers Endgame's resolution is when the aged Steve Rogers passes his shield to Falcon. It's a welcome, crowd-pleasing moment towards the end of the film. Apparently, Anthony Mackie was one of the last to know it was going to happen. Fittingly, Mackie said the moment he learned about it was an interesting reflection of what we see on the screen. Mackie told IMDb,
"I didn't even know it was happening. We were at his house, and he goes, 'You excited?' I'm like, 'What you talking about?' He goes, 'Wait, you don't know?'
At that point, Mackie says Evans ran out of the room and returned with a script for Mackie to read.
He's like, 'Read it.' And I read the scene, and I'm like, 'Whoa.' He goes, 'Yes!' We cried, we drank, we laughed. It became this thing.
He went on to express his gratitude that he got to spend that kind of moment with Evans, and it sounds like he got a good laugh out of getting the news later than everyone else.
Don't look at me. I do what he does, just slower.
Anthony Mackie may have been grateful for the moment he had with Chris Evans where he was past Cap's shield, but a lot of fans were the exact opposite of grateful when the Captain America actor talked about his reaction to Avengers Endgame with The Hollywood Reporter a month before the film's theatrical release. Evans told THR he, quote, "choked up like 3 times. A month later, at Endgame's LA premiere, Evans boosted that number to 6. The original THR interview upset fans about the prospect of being upset. The news that the movie made one of the stars cry had some asking how they were to cope.
Very upset. You know what I like about being upset? Blame.
What really set the fans on fire was Evans' joke during the THR interview about his own character's supposed death. The interview ends with Evans joking, "It's hard to see my own death. It's going to be a long movie, that's for sure. The first edit clocked in over 3 hours. My funeral's like an hour." Some fans went so far as to direct some less than polite words at the actor for joking about Cap dying, but plenty of others had a good sense of humor about it. Along with big moments that happened in Endgame, we've also seen some fun reactions to moments that fortunately, or unfortunately depending on your taste, didn't happen. Like the so-called Thanos theory, which guessed that Ant-Man would defeat Thanos by shrinking, entering the Mad Titan's butt, and then switching to Giant Man size. UK talk show host Graham Norton asked Paul Rudd about the theory, and both Norton and fellow guest Chris Hemsworth pointed out the tactic would work. But apparently not in love with the idea, Rudd asked,
Why not the ear or the nose? I mean, why does it have to be?
The Titan himself got to comment on the theory when Variety asked Josh Brolin about it at the Endgame premiere, referring to an Instagram post it made earlier that day featuring an artist's rendering of naked Thanos' backside. Brolin dodged addressing this theory directly, instead choosing to celebrate the Mad Titan's impressive physique.
That's a peach, man. That's a peach. That's a purple peach.
That's a big peach.
I've ever seen one. That's a beautiful purple peach.
In the aftermath of Endgame's release, one of the film's most polarizing aspects was the appearance of so-called Fat Thor. 5 years after the decimation and Thanos' death at the hands of Thor, the Thunder God is revealed to be in dire emotional straits. Thor is depicted as having done little for the past few years but eat, drink heavily, and play video games.
Thor.
Is he asleep?
Regardless of the debate about the character's endgame trajectory and how it was handled, we know now that Hemsworth was excited about it. In an interview with SiriusXM, directors Joe and Anthony Russo shared how they pitched Hemsworth their plans over the phone for Fat Thor. Anthony said during the call, Hemsworth was so energized by the work he had done in Thor Ragnarok in terms of coming up with a more comedic and irreverent Thor. That's when Joe Russo chimed in, saying, "Wait until you hear what we've got for you."
What do you think about the panic attack? Get it together.
Considering Hemsworth has said he was bored with playing Thor before Ragnarok re-energized his interest, it's a safe bet that if he continues in the MCU, Hemsworth is going to want to keep charting new territory for the Thunder God. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about the MCU are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.